Okay, good evening. My name is Doreen Wanyama, or you can call me Doreen Nangira. I am a database administrator by profession. It's been good to have you here. I've worked with the LuxDevHQ Academy for some time. Worked with both Harun and Daisy and Peter. And I can say it's a good environment to upskill. So you're in the best hands. So I mostly work with SQL, not even mostly. I work with SQL daily. So it's my bread and butter. That's the thing that feeds me. So I love SQL. I enjoy working with SQL. And I'm here to tell you that SQL is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It has been there for long and it's not going anywhere. So you just have to embrace SQL and you just have to love it. And I love working with SQL. It's my best friend. So today, this is the job shadowing. So first of all, excuse me, my webcam is not working. I don't have a webcam on my laptop. So I will just be speaking like this. In case you want to see me, you can see me during one of your meetups. So we are going to talk about job shadowing. First of all, I'm happy most of you have tried to keep time. Congratulations. Before even starting job shadowing, the companies usually check if the person or the candidate is good in time management. So I can say you've tried your best, although when it reached 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m., only Peter and Gatitu and I were in the call. So I think you need to improve on that. Those are some of the things that we probably look at too. Because if nobody wants to waste time, and time is money. So before we start, I want two people to tell me, to describe to me what is a job interview or what happens in a job interview. I want two people to describe to me what is a job interview and what happens in a job interview. Two people, please. I like it when my audience participate. I always like an active audience. So, someone to explain to me, someone to raise his or her hand, please. There is no right or wrong answer, so I'll expect people to participate. We are interacting. I don't expect you to be shy in a job interview. When you're asked a question, you keep quiet. So this is the first event type of interview you're having. Someone to tell me, what do you understand by the term job interview? I'm waiting. Okay, LuxDev has raised. Please speak, LuxDev.
Yeah, I'd say a job interview is a form of discussion and conversation you have with an employer so that they can see and gauge if you are the right candidate for the role that they are trying to fill.
Thank you. That's good. It's a conversation you're having so that they can gauge if you're the right fit. That's good. Another person, please. I say two people. I'm waiting for you. The longer you take, the longer we'll take in this session. For those who have interacted with me, you know I can always sleep even at midnight. Elisha, please speak.
I think job interviews are used to see if the person who had applied for that job is who they say they are first, and two is if they can be able to do the work that has been advertised. But also on a light note, it could be a strategy. It could be a HR strategy to see if they like you, so that they can ask your phone number.
Okay. I like the humor in that. Thank you very much, Elisha. That is fantastic. Yeah, they
Right.
also the way you communicate also will tell people whether they like you. It gives them the first hand impression also, and first impressions matter. Someone once said like that. So thank you very much, Elisha. Those are good answers. I know you understand now what a job interview is. So it's just a conversation between you and the employer to see if you're the right fit, if you fit their culture. Yeah, it's a conversation. It's not an interrogation like a police interrogation. So when it is a conversation, it means you should not be afraid of anything. They're just there to communicate with you. So you shouldn't be afraid of anything, and the odds are not against you. The odds are not against you. If it's a conversation, they want to hear your side of the story. And so it is not like the odds are against you. It's because most of you, when you attend interviews, you are always defensive. You go with a defensive strategy. A defensive strategy is like defensive strategy. What do I mean by defensive? You think like you are looking at the HR. You are looking at the HR or interviewer as an enemy. So you are there to defeat them, to prove them wrong. So that is not an interview. We should not look at an interview like that. They are there to have a conversation with you so that you can, both of you, achieve the common goal that you have. You want to improve your skills, you want to put your skills to use, and the employer also wants to solve his or her problem. So you are conversing, and the odds are never against you. The interview is because even why do I say the odds are not against you? The odds are not against you. Why do I say like this? The employer wants you to win, or the HR wants you to get the job, wants you to get the job. Why? Why do I say they want you to get the job? First of all, interviews are expensive. Interviews are expensive, and they are also time consuming. So the employer, they always hope that the first candidate will be the best candidate for them. When they invite you at the table, before even they invite you to their office or to have an interview with them, it means they have seen something in you and they have seen some value in you. Because if they don't see a value in the CV you sent or the application, it means they will not invite you for the interview. So it seems they saw the value, and so they decided to invite you. So it means the odds are not against you. And they always hope that the candidate that is in front of them is the one who is going to be filling that position. So you should always approach an interview like a friendly conversation and not something that is not be approaching it in a defensive manner. So that is one thing. So we have started. So today I'm going to give you some tips for cracking interviews, job interviews. Some tips. The first tip, when you are invited for an interview, or even when you apply for a job, the first thing that you should do, always study the company. Always study the company. Learn about the company. What do they do? What do they do? Is it a healthcare company? Is it a healthcare company? E.g., Cigna. Some of you have heard of Cigna. Is it, by the way, are you seeing my screen? I'm sharing a Word document. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes, yes,
So,
we can see.
thank you. Is it a healthcare company? Or is it a telecommunications company? Like Safaricom? So, what does it help you with? When you learn about the company, it shows you the things that you should put into mind when you are in the interview. I don't expect someone who is applying for maybe a healthcare job. Maybe you're going to work in a healthcare company, like maybe in a hospital. In a hospital, if you're going to work in a hospital, I don't expect you to be there, first of all, without a handkerchief. I don't expect you to go there without a handkerchief. This is a healthcare. They expect you to be clean, to be neat. If you're applying for a job for a place where it is a restaurant, they expect you to be neat. Some of the things, you cannot forget your handkerchief. I don't expect you to walk with a tissue paper when you're having a running nose. That one, they'll see you're not good in hygienic standards. So it always determines what you should do. The company, like maybe it is a cyber security company. It's a security company. Security. You're applying for a job in a security company. I don't expect you not to have knowledge of some of the security testing tools. I don't expect you to have, even if you're going as a data engineer. A data engineer doesn't use security testing tools, but at least you should know of one security testing tool. You should know of one, at least one of it. If you are going for a job interview in a place like Cigna also, Cigna, Cigna is a healthcare company. It means they keep data. They keep data for people like maybe patients. I expect you to learn about the data regulation rules, data regulation principles. This is a company that works with people's data. I expect you to learn about data regulation principles. I expect you to learn what is a PII. I expect you to know what is PII. Whether you're going to work in a healthcare company or you're going to work in a bank, there are some things, some vocabularies you should just know. Some vocabularies you should know. If you're working in a bank or in a healthcare company, you should know this vocabulary, PII. Someone to tell me what is PII. Someone to tell me what is PII. What is PII? Have you heard of that word? You have Google, please. What is PII? Elisha, have you raised your hand? I'm seeing Elisha.
No, I haven't raised my hand.
Okay, someone to Kemboya said personally identify information. Yes, that's good. When you're working in some companies, there are just some vocabularies that you should know. You just have to know. You're working in some companies, you should just know some vocabularies because they'll come up in the interview. So I don't expect you to go to a bank interview or a healthcare interview. Then they ask you, how will you handle PII data? Then you tell people, I don't know what is PII. That one, absolutely, they'll know that this is not someone that you want in our company. That one will disqualify you. So that is the first point. Learn about the company. And then also, that is what the company does. Another thing, learn the technologies the company uses. Learn the technologies. Research about this. Obviously, when there is a company, we have employees. A company does not exist alone. We have employees. We have people who work there. Go look for them on LinkedIn. Go look for them on Twitter or X. Find out about them. Find out about the technologies they use. Like maybe you can find, even sometimes before even sending a DM to someone on LinkedIn or in X, someone who works there, you just go to their profile, you check. Most people usually list the technologies they use in their profiles on LinkedIn. So you can find someone in LinkedIn, Someone has said, I use MS SQL. Maybe it is John. John is working at Safaricom. He's using MS SQL. Then you go to Esther, working in the same company as a data analyst. He has said he uses MS SQL. Then you go to maybe Daisy. He's working as a data engineer in the same company. And he has also said he uses MS SQL. So this one, you are now trying to research about the technologies used. So you are seeing there is something common between these three people. They work in the data field. This one is a data analyst. This one is a data engineer. Maybe this is a data scientist. And they have listed MS SQL in their profiles. You start having a concept, an idea of what this company uses. You realize they use a DBMS called MS SQL. DBMS called MS SQL. And even before you start assuming, you can even write, you can even try inboxing or DMing some of them. You can just DM 2 of them, DM like 2, not a lot of them, 2 of them. You can just ask them, how are you? My name is Doreen. I would like to know, I am interested in a company like yours. I've always loved, sometimes you don't even tell them directly you are going to apply for an interview. You don't know the person you are talking to. Maybe that is the hiring manager. You can just tell them, I've always had an interest in your company. I like the work you do. And I am always looking at it as something that, a company that can become my future employer in future. So if I was to come to your company one day, what technologies do you recommend that I should master before even I come to your company in future? They can even tell you, if you want to work in our company, we always expect people to know this and this and this. Or maybe you have a friend who works there. Maybe, now these ones are strangers. Maybe you have friends who work there. These are good. Now utilize the friends who work there. If your friends work there, you can even ask them directly. Ask them directly. What tools do they use? What tools do they use there? Then they tell you. Once you know the tools they use, it will help you. It will help you to prepare very well, to prepare for the interview. Because the company expects you to know how to use their tools. They are not, most of the companies, maybe they are not going to train you there. They just want someone who knows how to work on these tools. So once you know that, you go, you learn about those tools. You go, you learn about those tools. Go learn about the tools, how to use them. Even before the interview, you can go on YouTube, you learn. Maybe they're using MS SQL. MS SQL is a database management system. And you are used to using maybe MySQL or PostgreSQL. So once you realize they use MS SQL, try to learn some things about MS SQL. Take a tutorial about Microsoft SQL. MS SQL means Microsoft SQL. You should know that MS SQL is different from MySQL. MySQL is different from MS SQL. So if they're using MS SQL, go to YouTube, learn about how to navigate MS SQL. How do I connect to a database in a MS SQL interface? How do I list tables? What is the query? What is the syntax? The syntax for listing tables, in MS SQL. What is the syntax? Learn about some things or two about the DBMS they are using. So this one will prepare you for the interview to know when you are coming for the interview, you're not appearing like someone who is vague. At least it should give you some confidence when you come for that interview. And then, are we together up to there? Are we together up to there? We learn about the tools the company uses. Are we together? Good. So after that, you've learned about the company. And then also learn about the company culture. It is important. Now the company culture. learn some 1 or 2 things about the company culture. If I can ask, what is a culture? What is a culture? Elisha, your hand is still raised. Please lower it so that I don't confuse it. Please lower your hand. Elisha? Yeah. What is a culture? What is a culture? Someone to tell me what is a culture. You have Google, please. What is a culture? Hey. What is a culture? Peter Gatitu has said way of life. Someone else, you can even write on the chat if you don't want me to hear your voice. If you are afraid of me hearing your voice, you can use it. You can write on the chat. Another person? Way of life? Okay. Someone has said way of life. That is okay. The way people do their things. The way they do their things in that company. It is very important. Why do I say this? Maybe it is a Muslim-led company. It is a Muslim-led company, something like this. It's a Muslim-led company, maybe it is Islamic Bank. Let me talk about Islamic Bank. This one should just tell you it is more geared towards the Islam religion, or maybe it is Muslim-led. So, from your mind, when you see it is a Muslim-led company, you just know these people, maybe, if you have stayed with Muslims, you know they have to pray, to go for prayers at certain times of the day. And even on Friday, at certain time, they have to go for prayers, maybe at lunchtime. At lunchtime, they go for prayers. And then also, when it's a Muslim-led company, I don't expect you to walk around, to go there. I don't expect you to go with a mini dress or skirt. This is a Muslim-led company. Most of them, they wear hijabs or they wear buibui. So you know this is a company is Muslim-led and you are a lady and you just go there with a mini dress. Automatically, you're going to be disqualified. Automatically, as a lady, you're going to be disqualified. It's the same thing as when you're applying for a company like Canonical. How many of you have heard of Canonical? How many of you have heard of Canonical? Have you heard of anything called Canonical?
Yeah.
Yes. Canonical are the people that they are the owners of Ubuntu. Do you work with Ubuntu? Data engineers who are here, do you work with Ubuntu? Data engineers, what terminal do you use?
Yeah, we work with it.
So that is the company that owns Ubuntu. So the culture for this company, they always have company events that involve traveling, e.g. twice in a year. And when it says they involve traveling like twice in a year, it doesn't mean you're going to travel within Kenya if you're working from Kenya. They usually choose one country. Maybe this year they have said they are going to UK. They expect all the employees during that time to travel to UK for company event. So such a company, you realize they expect you to be someone who is ready to travel twice a year outside your country. Now, with their very good head and good brains, they come at the interview and then they ask you, they ask you when you are given an opportunity to travel, or they tell you, are you someone who fancies traveling? Do you like traveling? Do you enjoy traveling? They ask in the interview, do you enjoy traveling? Then you're there, you say, traveling bores me. Traveling bores me. I hate it. I hate it. I like staying indoors. I am an introvert. I like staying indoors. Here you're going to fail that interview. There you're going to fail that interview. Even if you don't like traveling, you can answer it in certain way. Do you enjoy traveling? I can say, I sometimes experience challenges traveling. It can be challenging. But if it is traveling for the general good, I'm always ready. Traveling for something that brings value to me, I will always be ready to go for that journey. You can say traveling is something that is a challenge to me, but when it involves adding value to my life, or it involves a good cause, I can always go for it. You see, you have tackled this issue. You haven't said you'll enjoy traveling, but you have said you experience challenges traveling, but if it is for the benefit of something, for the common good, or it's something that is going to add value to you, you'll always go for it. So this is something that has helped you to pass this interview. You went and learned about the company, and you realized this company does this. So you have aligned with them. You have aligned with their company culture. And that is where what we call about being a cultural fit. Cultural fit for the company. When the company employs you, first of all, even the first thing, they are not 100%. They don't mostly look at the hard skills. Some companies says hard skills can always be learned. Hard skills can be learned, but if you're not a good company cultural fit for them, there is no need of hiring you even if you're the best data engineer. So cultural fit is something that all companies usually consider even before they look at the hard skills. So always make sure you are culturally fit to that company by studying about the company culture. This is a research you can do online. You can ask people, and it will really save your time. Are we together to that? Are we together? Okay. As we continue, those are just by the ways that you should know. I expect you to know and I expect you to do. Then on the day of the interview, now I'm going to be on the day of the interview. On the day of the interview, what should you do? On the day of the interview, what should you demonstrate on the day of the interview? The first thing, time management. Time management. That is the first thing. On the day of the interview, that is the first thing. Always be good in time management. Show that you are someone who can manage your time very well. Most of the companies, they work under deadlines, they work under schedules, and they need to make sure some tasks are delivered within a certain time period. So if you show them that you're not good in time management, it's going to appear bad in you. How do you demonstrate good time management? The first thing, arrival to the interview. That is common. Arrival to the interview. Arrive early. If they ask you to come with the documents, ensure you have come with the documents. It's not like they told you to bring your CV, they told you to bring your school certificate, then you reach the company and you start asking for a photocopy machine. You say you have carried your CV in your phone and they wanted hard copies, that you want a photocopy machine to photocopy your documents. Here it will show that you're not in good time management. You're not good in time management. They expected you to utilize your time when you're preparing for the interview to ensure you had done the copies of all your documents. So this one comes under time management also. Arriving early and ensuring the documents they asked for, they're in the best manner. If they ask for hard copy, ensure you do the photocopies early before you go to the building, to the company. Don't go and start asking the secretary if you can photocopy your documents. That one will disqualify you. Another thing, avoid also, most of us, you go to a company, then you go there to the secretary or someone who's there, the receptionist, and tell them you want to charge your phone or laptop. You want to charge your phone or laptop. You knew you are going to use your phone or you are going to use your laptop. You had the whole night and the whole day to ensure your phone is charged and your laptop is charged. You can always go to a cyber security to charge your phone, but on the day of the interview, avoid using those opportunities to charge your phone or your laptop. Avoid that. I know most of you think it's not a bad thing to do. You think it's safe to do that, but this one will show you're not good in time management. They see that you're not organized, you're a disorganized person. On the day of the interview, ensure your phone and your laptop is well charged. That comes under time management also. Another thing also under time management, if you're working, your interview is maybe remote. Your interview is remote. Under time management. Yes, you are arriving, you are showing up on the Google Meet early. When we arranged this session today, nobody was in time. By 7:30, nobody was here. Only Gatitu was here, Peter Gatitu. And Peter Gatitu is the one presenting. So if you are having an online interview, remote also, ensure you arrive like even 30 minutes earlier. Even 30 minutes earlier. I can give you an example. On the day of my interview, the current job I have, it was the first online interview, the conversation. We had an online interview before the practical one. The person who was to come, we were having the online interview 30 minute sessions. So the person who was to come before me was late by 5 minutes. And I arrived earlier, I arrived 35 minutes earlier. I was in the room. There. So they decided to consider me. They told me to go fast. And even from there, after my interview, I arrived earlier. I took the slot for the other person who was late. And after my interview was ended, that was the end of the interviews. They did not even consider the other candidate. And imagine 5 minutes cost the candidate that job. I got the job maybe which he was supposed to have got because the person was a senior person. He had more experience than me. He was very good in that tech stack. But just because he delayed by 5 minutes, it cost him. They could not wait for him. I went there and I won the interview panel over and I was able to take the job. Now you can imagine how time is important. Another thing, ensure your tools, the tools that you're going to use. Maybe you're going to use Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is like Google Meet. For those who don't know about Microsoft Teams, it's like Google Meet that you can have an online meeting. So Microsoft Teams, most people, they know sometimes Microsoft Teams has technical challenges. It can just mess you up. So if you know you're going to use a certain tool, maybe Google Meet or even Teams, first of all, ensure you download it early enough before the day of the interview. Before the day of the interview, download it and also ensure you use it. Ensure you practice using it. Practice using it. Practice using it. I don't expect you to get to the interview, then you start checking, where do I get the reactions place where I can post my reactions? Maybe Google Meet, this is where you get the reactions. I don't expect you to the interview, you have not learned how to use that tool, then you start fumbling in the interview day. Maybe you want to put a reaction, you don't know where the reaction sign is. You don't know where the sign for using for writing a text message is. Maybe they tell you, post your link on the chat, your GitHub link. Then you don't know. Please help me. I'm trying to check where I'm supposed to take the place where I'm supposed to take the meeting notes or where I'm supposed to put the chat. Please give me some time to check. No, that means you're not good in time management. should ensure you prepare early enough. You learn to use the tools early enough. Learn how to use it. If you have never used it, take some time, 3 days, practice using that tool that you use for the interview, so that it doesn't mess you up when you come for the interview. So those are the things you prepare. Now, on the interview day now, maybe during the verbal, we are still looking at the verbal interview. We are not talking about the technical. We are going to talk about the technical later. So the verbal interview, trying to know about you. So it reaches the time for ask the questions. Ask questions. Maybe you have finished the verbal interview, then the interviewer asks you, ask me something. Can advise you should never miss a question for the interviewer. Never miss a question. Never miss a question. Why do I say so? When they tell you, ask us something, do you have a question for us? Don't say, I don't have a question for you, I'm okay. No. This question, they always ask you to know if you are interested in that company. And also it shows whether you really have the passion for that job. This question tells them two things: whether you are interested in working with them, and also if you have the passion for the job. Someone who is passionate about something will always ask a question. Just like, for example, if you are a man and you see a beautiful lady somewhere, you're a man and you see a beautiful lady, you will have to approach the lady. You'll have to say, good morning. It means you're interested in that lady. If you keep quiet, the lady will not know that you're interested in them. And so you lose that lady, you lose your chance. So that's the same thing when you're in an interview. When you ask a question, it means you're interested in the company. It shows you're passionate about them. So always have even one question. Are we together there? Are we together? And another thing, while you are asking questions for the interview, another thing you can ask the interviewer, always ask them how. You can always ask them how the daily life of this job is. Or you can even ask them what challenges do they face in the role, in that role. Maybe in this company, if you are talking about databases, I'm someone who deals with databases, SQL. They're talking about databases. They tell you they have a lot of queries that run slowly. So if you ask the company some of the challenges they face or how the daily life is, maybe you will know, you'll have an idea of what you're going to do there in that company. It will give an expectation of how your day one will be, what you'll be doing, and whether it's something that you are going to look forward to for the rest of your life. They have slow running queries. It means the first thing the company will expect you to do when you come there, you have to optimize their databases. So when you ask such a question, what challenges they always face, it shows, first thing, it shows you're a problem solver. You're ready to solve problems. And also, it also helps you to know how your job will be when you go there. It will also tell you if it is something I'm going to do for a long term or something I will lose interest in. Like, I remember there's a certain company when I was still applying for jobs, because SQL is applied everywhere. I applied for a job as a data analyst in a certain company's customer care company. So they usually monitor the way the customer service is, if they are working. So I asked them how their daily life is and what they expect me in the job. I just realized that they want to know the customers, the main problem that their employees are facing in the customer center, and also the challenges that most of their companies face, maybe why their companies are leaving the company, some of the things, some of the challenges. So they want me to optimize in a way that, to come in a way that I'll be able to analyze the main thing that is making their customers to live in their customer service. And another thing I realized, the first thing I got to that company, I went and spoke with a certain secretary. That secretary was rude to me. He was there on the phone throughout. I was staring at her. I even stayed there for like 7 minutes. She did not know I was coming for the interview. I went to the interview room. The room was not well set. And then they asked me, when I asked them, what problem do you want to face? The main challenge they want to tackle is to find out why most of the customers, they come for some time, like for 3 months, then they start not renewing their subscription. Then I realized, I asked myself, I've come to this company, it's a customer care company call center. It's supposed to be good in customer service, but the first thing I came into this company, the customer service was poor to me. So if they can do this to me, someone is going to be hired here. What about someone who is not there physically, the customer? Then I realized that is a challenge I'm going to be faced with every day. And I realized I'm not going to be ready to work with them. I'm not going to be ready to work with them for a long time. So some things like that, when you ask questions, it will make you know what to expect in future and to know if it's a company you want to work with for a long time or just for a short time. Okay, now we are there. These are just the verbal questions, the verbal things you should know for the verbal interview. Before I go to what to expect, what you should expect, or what you should do in the technical interview, someone to ask me a question, any question you have. Before now I go, what to expect for technical interview or how to prepare for it. Someone to ask me a question. Do you have questions? Okay, I don't see questions. That is good, I don't see questions. So, we have just been talking about the verbal interview, non-verbal cues, things you should do. Now we are going to the technical interview. How to prepare for the technical interview. How to prepare for the technical interview. Now, I told you I'm a database administrator. And I told you I deal with SQL. And when you came for this call, you are told Doreen will talk about SQL tips. So, we are going to talk about SQL. The technical interview I'm going to talk about is the SQL part. Majorly on SQL. I'm not going to touch anything about Python. I'm only going to touch about SQL. So, first of all, someone to tell me what is SQL. I want to see if you remember what your teachers told you. What is SQL in full? What is SQL? What is SQL in full? What is SQL in full? Hey. I want you to participate, please.
Language.
Oliver said structured query language. Aime, are you from France? Aime, you love someone, to love someone. Eh? Aime,
Yeah,
you speak French?
yeah.
That is good, welcome. Bienvenue ici. Okay,
Merci beaucoup.
Florence has answered. Flores has answered. Structured query language, Jane, structured query language, Bensoki or Bensol. For a remote job interview, can you still ask a question? Yes, my dear. Bensoki, Bensul. Is it Bensul or Bensokul Kamau? Yes, you can ask a question. Always have a question. It's a remote job interview. Ask them a question. It's a conversation. I told you it's a conversation between you and the employer or the interviewer. You can ask them a question that you're interested in, because I told you when you're asking a question, it shows you're passionate about this job, and it also shows that you're interested in the company. And nobody wants someone who's not interested in them. The same way, if you are courting someone, you want to date someone, I want someone who's dating me to be interested in me. I don't want someone who is dating me not to ask me how my day was. I don't want someone to ask me how my morning was. Bure, utagongewa. So, Kemboi, personally, way of life, set of shared beliefs for remote. So you have answered what is a structured query language. That is good. I'm glad you know that. So for SQL, the first tip, master 1 DBMS. Master 1 DBMS. That is the first thing I'll advise you to do. First of all, what is a DBMS? What is a DBMS? Someone to answer, what is a DBMS? Tell me. I want someone to tell me what is a DBMS. By speaking, not by writing. Jenna said database management system. So I want you to explain to me like I'm a child, like I'm a standard 1 year child, like I'm a 5-year-old child. I want you to explain to me what is a DBMS. Someone to speak, please. Like I'm a 1-year-old child. You've covered these things in class. So someone to tell me what is a DBMS, please. Hey, today I'm using the word please. Wow.
Hello.
Oliver?
It's just a software that one can use to interact with the database.
Okay, it is a software that one can use to interact with the database. I'm a child, I'm 3-year-old child. I don't know what a software is. I want you to explain to me like a child who has never been in tech, even someone who is not in tech, someone who has never known what is a software, someone who is just someone who is studying animal nutrition. I'm studying animal nutrition in campus, and I want to know what is a DBMS. So obviously I don't know what a software is. Tell me what is a DBMS, please.
Hello.
Yes, speak please, Aime.
DBMS is a database management system that is allowed to create, to manage, and to stock money, to do some manipulation on the database. That kind of source give us some functionality to manage information with security.
Okay, thank you. Oliver and Aime, that are good trials. Now let me try if I can also explain what is a DBMS. First of all, you know the meaning, database management system. Now, I'm explaining to a child now. I have a class 1-year-old child or a 5-year-old child, or I have someone who has never been in a technology class. I want to explain to him what is a DBMS. So I can tell them this is a container that this is a large It is not a container. Container, let me say a container. Container is a database. Then we have data, which is information. Now, this is something that enables you. This is something that stores and also it gives you the capabilities of managing, or not even managing, of interacting with your different containers. So you can have one container, so you can have many containers. So you have one container here, it is a database. So this data, the data which is information, you go and store it in a certain container. The data, you go and store it in a certain container. And this container, maybe the data about a school, students, the data about students, you store it in a students table, students or school database, And this school database, we call it a container. This container, it holds the data for the school. Then we have another container, you have another database, so you have another container which shows the things about different supermarkets. You have a database for showing different supermarkets. So you store it in a certain container. And then you also have a database for keeping, a database for keeping what? Another thing, a database for supermarkets, a database for school, and maybe you also have a database for different houses in your area. A list of houses listing in your area. So you have these three containers. You have these three containers, three databases. So this is in a certain place, this is in a certain place, but you want to bring these three containers together. And you want to be able to reach these three containers at one go. You don't want to go and start looking for container A. Then when you want to look for container B, you go somewhere else. Maybe container A is found in Kenya. Maybe another container is found in Cameroon. That is the French word for Cameroon, or Cameroon is written double O. Then you have another one, another container is found in Congo. So I want these three containers to be in one place. I want these three containers to be in one place. So that when I want to take something from this container, I just go to one place and I get it. I want all these three containers to be found in Kenya. I want all these three containers to be found in Kenya. I don't want today, this is in January. I don't want to go to January. I don't want to go on January. I have to go to Kenya. I travel to Kenya. Then, when I want the data about supermarkets on February, I have to travel to Cameroon. Then, the same February, I want data about houses. I don't want to travel to Congo. Then you have to travel to Congo. Then you have to travel to Congo on, you have to travel to Congo. You have to travel to Congo on February again. Now, when you look at these three things, I'm traveling to Cameroon on February. This is February. I want data about supermarkets on February. And I also want about houses on February. Traveling to these two places in the same month is going to be expensive. It's going to be expensive. I just want these things to be in one place so that I can reach them, so that I can easily interact with them. If I want something from here, I just get it from one place. I want to remain in Kenya. I don't want to go to different places. I don't want to go to different places. I want to remain in Kenya. So I will look for something called a DBMS. I will look for something called a DBMS, Database Management System. I will look for something called a DBMS. It will host. So the work of a DBMS now, it hosts. It's like we are learning about DBMS today. Oh my God. So it will host my databases. So that is the first work of DBMS. It hosts your database. So it will host these 3 containers. And another thing, to interact with your databases, to be able to get data from a database, you need something. A tool that will enable you to get information from here. You need a tool that will enable you to interact with the database. In order to interact with them, you need a DBMS. A DBMS helps you to interact with them. Helps you to interact with your database. How does it come so? To interact with the database, you need to know a language called SQL, Structured Query Language. You need to know a language called Structured Query Language, SQL. And this DBMS, Database Management System, they use a language called SQL. This DBMS, they use a language called SQL. For example, a DBMS like MySQL, it uses MySQL syntax. Then we have another example called Oracle DBMS, and we have PostgreSQL. So they enable you to interact with the database because a DBMS uses SQL. And SQL is the language you use to interact with databases. And this SQL is found in this DBMS. To interact with the databases, you need SQL. And SQL, most of them, this DBMS, they enable you to write your SQL queries. They give you an interface for writing your SQL queries. So, why should you master one DBMS? Because when you look at the syntax is the way of writing SQL. Syntax is the way of writing SQL. The way of writing SQL. The way of writing SQL is a syntax. When you look at the syntax for MySQL, it's different from the syntax for Oracle. It's a bit different. There is always some variation. There are always some good things, some benefits, but there are some variations. Like if I want to list databases, list tables in MySQL. If I want to list tables in MySQL, I say show tables. I will say show tables. But when you want to list tables in Oracle, you have to say select table name.
Dorcas,
Yes?
we might have you need to finish soon so that we have time for Peter.
Okay, thank you.
So
select table name from the tab privileges. So it's a different syntax. So when you learn about one DBMS, when you master one, it will be able even to help you in your interview. When you go for your interview, when you are learning SQL, you are working on SQL practical, you'll be given one DBMS. They'll tell you which DBMS are you comfortable with, which database management system are you comfortable with. So they'll give you that and you'll be able to work on that. Another thing now, that is point number 1, master one DBMS. For the practical interview, another thing, you should know about relationships. All SQL, whether you're a data analyst, or you're a data engineer, or a data scientist, you should know about relationship, different types of relationship. You learned in your class. All the interview questions for SQL, majority of them, they never lack a question on relationship. Like we have one-to-one, we have one-to-many. Know about the different types of relationships. Another thing for SQL interview, you have to know about joins. Know the different types of joins. Know the different types of joins. Different types of joins. Know about this. In all SQL interview, you should know different types of joins and when to use one, when to use which one, when to use which, and when not to use. Know about different joins. SQL interviews, they always ask you a question that will revolve around the concept of joins. Know about different types and when to use them. Another thing you should know when you're doing about SQL interviews, database optimization. Database optimization. Why do I talk about database optimization? Database optimization or query optimization. Database optimization or query optimization. This is like you want your queries, you want to write, make sure you have to know how to write queries that do not use many resources and queries that are fast. A good SQL developer, someone using SQL, a data analyst or data engineer or data scientist, you should always know how to write queries that do not use many resources and queries that queries that are not slow. Your queries should be able to be optimized to run fast. Why do I say this? Why do I say this? A company always wants to avoid losses. No company wants to run in losses. They want to make profits only. They want to make profits. So when you're in a SQL practical interview, when you're given an interview, the interviewer will look at how you have written your query. They look at how you have written your query. An example of a query that is resource intensive, a query that is resource intensive is select all. Select all. Select all. Most of you use select all. I can advise you only use select all when necessary. When necessary. When necessary. When necessary, unless it is needed. Maybe you want to generate a lot of records. But if your interviewer has told you, give me the name of the student that scored the highest marks. Give me the name of the student that scores the highest marks. And maybe you have the students table and we have the columns called name and we have the column called marks and we have the column called age. And the interview only asks you, give me the name of the student. Here, the interviewer is asking, apart from giving him the answer, he also wants to know how you're going to solve this problem. Are you going to write a query that will be resource intensive or a query that is not going to waste a lot of resources? So in such a question, the interviewer only wants the name. So make sure in your query, the result gives you only a name. So if in your query, the result will give you only a name, it means you will not use select all. You will not need these two columns. You will only need the name column. So you'll say select name from. And then you also generate your queries in a way that it can calculate the highest marks. So those are some of the things we look at. Database optimization. That is something you should know. And another thing in SQL interview, you should learn about how to use SQL for coming with the schema. Schema design. Learn about schema design. This is the way you design your tables and databases. The way you design your table and databases. Learn about schema design. Learn about schema design. It's very important. Most interviews, they ask this, especially data engineers, they ask you about this. Schema design, you should just know. Know the difference between Know the difference between OLAP and OLTP. The difference, when to use OLAP and when to use OLTP, when not to use it, and how can you design your database in a way that it will be able to ensure if this bank is using OLAP or this company uses OLAP's databases, you know how to design your database in a way that will support this. You should also know how to design a database in a way that it will promote OLAP transaction than OLTP. So know the difference between those. And another thing that you should know for SQL interviews, learn about SQL data cleaning. SQL data cleaning, different ways of cleaning your data with SQL. I know most of you who work with Python, you only work with Python for data cleaning or maybe Excel, but there are different ways of using SQL to clean your data. Learn about this. They'll come in an interview also. And the last thing I will tell you, when you're given an interview problem in SQL, always start with the solution. Always start with the solution. When you are solving a problem, always start with the end goal. SQL doesn't work like real life. SQL is the opposite of real life. I'll tell you, SQL is the opposite of real life. In real life, when you want to climb stairs, when you want to go to stair number 8, you will start from stair number 1 going up. You start from stair number 1. In real life, if you are to go to stair number 8, you start with stair number 1. But SQL does not work like this. SQL is the opposite. If you want to go to stair number 8, SQL will start from stair number 8. This is how SQL functions. It doesn't start from the beginning where you're supposed. It starts from the end result, the end goal. For example, to show you that SQL works like this, maybe you are told find the females or ladies in LuxTech Academy. Find ladies who are students at LuxTech Academy. So it means the end goal is to find ladies. That is the end goal, is to find ladies. In real life, if you want to find ladies, you go to the class and you start searching from the door, one by one, you start searching for the people. But SQL does not work like this. When you write your SQL, it will be select everything. You want to find ladies from students where gender is equals to female. So, in SQL, when you're given a question, you start with the end goal. So, when you're given such a task, you write now, what is the solution? Solution, find ladies. So that is the solution. You start with your end goal. So if it is starting with your end goal, you know when you are writing your SQL query, you know I'm going to use something called a filter. When you're starting with the end goal, it will tell you now in your query you have to filter. So it means you'll only filter for students who are ladies. So when you know you're going to use filter in SQL, you know whenever there is filter, there is a where clause. Whenever there is filter, there is a where clause. It is used for filtering. So when you start from the end goal, it will tell you the things you should include in your SQL. And since they are looking for students who are female, it means you're going to avoid, it will also tell you, I'm going to avoid select all. Because I'm only looking for female, it means I'm going to say select female. So that is just an example of how an end goal enables you to know how you're going to write your SQL query. So SQL does not work like real life. It acts the opposite. It's the opposite of real life. And the last thing I can tell you, nobody became a master. Nobody became a master in one day. Nobody became a master in one day. So the best thing to improve your SQL is to practice. Practice every day. Practice anytime you want. You can only learn this concept and get used to SQL as you practice. Continue practicing. Learning never ends. So that is the thing that we have discussed today. Thank you. In case of any questions, you can always post in the chat, the group chat, the class. Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, so thank you, Doreen, for that. And thank you everyone for waiting for that. Yeah, it has been a very interactive session, and I've also learned a few things here and there. Yeah, as how you're supposed to. I didn't really know that part of knowing certain vocabularies like the PII. Yeah, so that was very enlightening. Yeah, I hope, by the guys, you can hear me. Can you hear me? Well, yeah. So, if you have any question, so especially, by the way, if you have any question in SQL, you can always talk to Doreen. Doreen, maybe if I could beg you, you can post your number there or maybe your email for people maybe want to ask you questions personally. Yeah, because we have several people who are learning data engineering. Yeah, other people are analysts and they really want to know more of SQL, and you can be really helpful for them. Yeah. So so for me, my I think I'm gonna take you in a small session so that you can be able to finish on time. Today we were supposed to talk about a Python package, yeah, which the manager, which has been quite good, but I don't know if most of you are using it. It's called UV, yeah, not the UV light, yeah. So we have the UV light. Now we have the UV. The UV is the Python package. So let me share my screen that I'll be able to share some also files with you for what we're gonna be discussing. Yeah. So just a second. Yeah, so I hope you can be able to see my screen. Can you see my screen? Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. So yeah. So today we're gonna talk about UV and what UV is, and at least we can be able to use it more because of it's something that I've been using for a while, and with the experience that I've had with it, is something that it's very interesting. Whether you guys you can really wanna try with it. So, what is UV and why you should care? UV is like I'll call it like a turbo engine for installing Python package. So some of you have watched movies, you know what I'm talking about when I say turbo. So it's fast, yeah. And I think sometimes some of you have used the pip, yeah, the pip or Python version of the Python, because pip is also a Python package manager, and you know how sometimes it becomes slow. So UV does the same thing as pip, but is 10 times faster. Yeah. So it's the old way of how we used to install and manage packages, like installing, like upgrading. Yeah, it's the old way. I can call it the old way. And now the new way is using UV, since I think with the new technologies we are having, it will become it will be now, I think, a bit very old if we're still struggling to get a faster way of how to install these packages. Yeah. So I think I can start by some demonstration. Let me clear this. Yeah, so I'm using what we call git git. It is called a git bash. Okay. Yeah. So I'm using a git bash, but I'll give you if you have something like also Windows, you can use PowerShell. If you have also Linux, you can use your Linux. So there's no problem. So I think I'll go to the documentation of UV. So let me search it for you. Let's search it together. So UV Python package. Yeah. So sorry, UV Python package manager. Yeah, so this is as you can see, let me show you where we can. Yeah, this is the documentation, but go to the documentation of it. Yeah, it's where we got the documentation of it. I can also send it to you, yeah, to the chat, so you can also, if you need to look at it. Yeah, if I've pasted it there. Yeah, because it is always nice when you want to use a new tool. It's always good to go and check on their documentation, because they have the most everything that they need to talk about their application. So with the UV, we can say as you can see here, it's a extremely fast Python package and project manager written in Rust. So Rust is I can tell you it's a programming language, not as it's not like Python, but it's another different programming language that other programmers use to build fast application. Yeah, like C, C#. Yeah, but Rust is very good in building very fast applications, web apps. Yeah, actually, web apps are written in Rust as are quite fast. Yeah, so as you can see here, this is a UV. It's a tool that was created to replace pip tools, pipx, poetry. Poetry is the same as, it's also like a Python package manager, but it has its own uniqueness, since it's quite good and advanced also. But UV stands being fast than poetry. Yeah, so you can see it's like 10 to 100 times faster than pip Vinigo. Yeah, so this is a very good tool that you can really try to use it. So if you scroll down, there's somewhere there where they talk about how you can be able to install UV in your, maybe if you're using Mac OS or maybe Linux. So this is how you're gonna use it. At least when I'm using git bash, it gives me command line interface. Yeah, so with what I have here, I can be able to use curl command to be able to install it. But if you have Windows, you can use it. You can also use PowerShell. So yeah, as me, so Let me open my terminal. So, but for this, you have to open it as an administrator for it to work. Yeah, there's somebody who wants to ask a question. Okay, somebody opened their mic, but it's okay. So for here now, you can be able to take these commands here. So like this, come here, to pick it. Let's say here until the end. Yeah, or maybe just copy. Yeah, I had somebody open their mic. Kuna mtu anataka kuuliza swali. Oh yeah, okay. Sasa. So yeah, can just pick this, then opportunity can just paste that. Yeah, like that. But remember, in administrator, if you don't open PowerShell in administrator mode, you can't install it. And then yeah, can be able to run that. Yeah, so and then it will tell you downloading UV. Yeah, so the same way you can be able to use, so if maybe you are in, let's say Linux or maybe Mac OS, you can be able to use Cal. Yeah, Cal, this one. Yeah, so it's a bit faster way of how you can also to install. So you can also paste it to your command. Yeah, if you're using Linux or maybe, yeah, and then when run also, yeah, start to also install. Yeah, so you can see the same way. So yeah, works the same. So you can see this one is installed. Yeah. Yeah. So now in UV, after you have installed that way, sometimes people come and use maybe UV version, but it will tell you an error, not because that the UV is not there, but because UV works when there is a project directory. Yeah. So if we create a project directorate is when we find the UV version, or maybe you can use this UV self version. Yeah, so it will tell you the version of the UV is using. Yeah, so the same way, see this one's for now Windows. Yeah, but install now also the same way with the other one. So if I come here and say UV self self version, come here to see which UV I'm using. So you can see, yeah, they are quite like okay, I'm using the same machine, but this one is when I'm in a Linux or maybe Mac OS, and this one is when I'm in totally Windows machine. But I think I'm gonna use this for Windows because most of us have Windows. Linux guys are able to see that. Yeah, so let me clear this. Yeah, so now let's try and create our first UV project so that you can be able to see what UV works, but even I can be able to show you with the other we call it the traditional way using Pip. So I can start with the traditional way. So for example, if I wanted to just use to create a normal project, let's say like to print my name, or maybe to get a request from an API. So that's an API like how many APIs do I know here? Maybe for example, let's check for I think for Binance, let me see, so that will be a bit, at least it will have some packages that we have to install. Or maybe let's use pandas. Everybody knows. I think most of you knows them if you're doing a bit of data or something. Yeah, so let's say now I want to use pandas to just to create some data frame, yeah, from a dictionary. So the first thing is I will come and I'll create a directorate. Let me increase my font that most of you are seeing. Yeah, so make directorate, and then I will call it test app. Yeah, and then the other one, now I'll be able to go inside the directorate and say cd test dot app. So this is the way we do it every time using the normal way, using pip. So if I list, I say I don't have anything, so I'll be able to create now the other thing is to just use create a simple thing using maybe pandas. So I'll come here and say something like I don't know if I have, do I have nano here? Let's see. Yeah. So this is just like a text editor. So just how we use. So it's a nano app, maybe to py. Yeah, and then inside there I'll be able to write as just a quick code that we'll be able to use. Yeah, so the first thing is I will have to import pandas as pd, and then the other thing is I'll be able now to have like a dictionary something. Yeah, so I'll have like info is equals to, and then have something like this, and then now I'll be able to say I have name, and then the name will be our school, Lux. And then after that, I will have the topic, and then the topic will be UV Python package manager, and then from there, comma, and then from there, let's say now we say how many attendance we had. So let's say attendance. Yeah, attendance, we will have like, let's say we had like 30. Yeah, so after that I will close that. Yeah, and now I will use pandas to change the dictionary into a data frame. So I come here and say now let's say df is equals to pd dot read no, pd data frame, and then after that I'll be able to change this into now at least for it to be converted easily. Yeah, to have for it to be able to be ordered. Yeah, and then at the same time to use the keys as the columns. Yeah, so I put it change into a list. Yeah, like that. So so after that I'll come and be able to print our data frame here. So something like that. So let's say we had a simple project like that. Yeah, so I'll be able to save this. Yeah, so let's confirm that's what we have. So cat, it's a command to be able to check for the information in our files without executing. Yeah, so you can see that's what we have. So we want to run this now. Sorry, we want to run, so just have to clear. Yeah, but let me do it again. Cat app.py. Yeah, so I want to run this. So to run Python script, we usually run it by saying Python app.py. So you can see we don't have any a module called pandas. Yeah, guys, are we following? Are we together? We're together. Hello. We're together. Yeah. So from there, so from here now, we'll be able now to use like now the pip install to put our virtual environment. The reason why we have that virtual environment to avoid dependency issues by just isolating the Python environment to a specific like a project we have. So that's why when we come and say now Python, we say Python 3m venv, it's a command now to create the virtual environment, and then you say maybe app. So wait for you to create. So I'm trying to show you how we go through a lot of work, step by step, and then we go now to UV and we do the same thing, and then we see how it really acts faster. Because you can see with this pip, because if I decide to use pip install here without having a virtual environment, nowadays you're gonna have issues. It's because of the versions of Python we have. So most of them you're gonna have what we call the pip error. So we have to now at least activate. So we say source, we go to app, bin, then go to activate, and then I think this is no such file found. So I think it's using scripts. Because I'm in Windows. So scripts. So you can see it is. And then after that, I'll come and say pip install pandas. So let's wait and see. So you can see it, trying to install pandas, and you can see how, it works. Like that's the whole how we do that. Like using pip. If most of you have been using Python, that's the way you follow the to use pip. Now let's, as this one is doing it, let's do it with now UV. So in UV now, this is how you do it. So we're gonna use the same app, test app. We use the same test app. So I hope I'm not in the same, but let me use another one like test. But now in UV we don't start by saying make directorate, and then we go to cd, say the directorate, and then we go again. We don't do that. So what we do is we usually use UV does it for you. Like UV, it's something that runs your file, and then it also checks if there is error to make sure that everything that you run, it's okay. So even the virtual environment, you don't create the virtual environment. UV is the one that creates for you, because sometimes we forget to create virtual environments when we're in the middle of our projects. We start to think what is the issue, and then we find we're getting pip error. That's the time we realize we don't have a virtual environment. But in UV does it for you. So you come and say UV. So this is how you start. So UV, and then you say, you write UV init, okay, and then you say test. So I think this one ran. So let's run our no. So I have to again, let me clear. So Python app.py, .py. See what you're having here. So let's wait. So in UV, you can see, so it ran. It was able to run, but we're able to do the same thing with UV. So we say UV init test, and then you can see it has initialized the project and has created a folder called test, and then it says cd test, and then so inside cd test I can be able to ls, and you can see it comes with extra files. It comes with extra files. So there are some extra files inside there. So what does UV do? It creates a folder called test, and then it adds important files automatically, and then it will set up a Git version control for you. Okay, yeah. So this file you can see here, it's called pyproject.toml. So this is your project settings. Yeah, like sometimes if you're some people are using Node.js, or maybe things like those. There's something in there in when they're creating with Node.js. There's something called package.json. So it's your project setting. So it comes with that. So the version of the one that you're using. So if you say I think this one you can't see it. So but I hope you can be able to shift here ndio unaweza kuona kabisa. So cd test, so ls, so cat project, so you can be able to see. So the name of the folder, the version, the description you can add here, the readme, and then the requires Python. So gives you the version that you really have to use, and the dependency. It's the settings for your project. And then we have .python version. This is it tells you which version to use. And then we have this main.py. This is just a Python file that it usually creates automatically for you to test with. So, and then .git ignore. This is the file that if you decide to push it to GitHub, this tells Git what files to ignore. So why does it use these files? It's because like for pyproject.toml, it's so that you can be able to keep track of your packages. And then the Python version is to ensure that everyone uses the same Python version if they decide to use your project. And then this one is so that, as I've told you, is so that you can test to showcase that everything is okay. So now here I will be able to use the this one app.py. So and then I'll come and say so I come here and I will write let's say no, this one doesn't have. Somebody asking a question. Yes, I may.
Okay. Naweza ukaniruhusu swali kwa Swahili?
Unaweza uliza.
Okay. With UV, je, inaweza ikaran kwenye kompyuta inatumikisha Windows bila kuinstall hata WSL system yoyote ya Linux? Inaweza
ndio hii hata nimewatumia. Unaona installation, kuna macOS hapa na Windows. Actually nikitumia hii situmii WSL. Actually nikitumia hapa natumia Windows PowerShell.
Okay, nadhani hapo inaitika kwa sababu kulikuwa some packages za Python kwenye folder za system.
Pana, like it's different. Hii actually hii ni tofauti, hii ni tofauti na hii. And tofauti na hii.
Kwa kifupi, kama naelewa, yoyote anapenda kutumika na UV, haiko lazima aka setup kwenye mashine yake Linux environment
Hapana.
o zingine package za Python UV itafanya yote.
Hiyo si ukiwa tu na UV and at least you have something like also Python installed ni poa. But kwa systems si lazima ati ukuwe na Linux ndio iwork ama ukuwe na Windows ndio iwork. It's a bit faster actually. Kama ulitumia hii venye mliona nikifanya, si uliona nilipaste tu nilipaste tu hii ya Windows nikaeka pia nikajaribu na hii ya Linux Max na Linux the same way ika work. It can really work in the both of them. Ni kama tu pip can work the venye ina work na Windows the same way venye ita work kwa Linux.
Okay, hata kama uko kwenye offline hauna internet.
Hiyo sasa ukiwa kwa offline as long as usha install ukiwa sasa shida ni hizi vitu inaweza run ikiwa offline but adding packages lazima kuwe online.
Okay.
When you're talking about a Python package manager, ni kama unaenda kuinstall an application but instead ya kwenda kwa hiyo the same ni hapa. Niliwaonesha how like kuna wengine bado maybe wajaona. There's something called PYPI. PYPI, it's where we have the Python package index. So all Python packages are placed here.
Okay.
So we use pip here. Like if I wanted pandas, naweza kuja tu hapa niandike pandas. And I can get pandas here. Like I can get pandas any application I want. So ndio hii. I can get pandas. I can just click nikitaka, unaona ndio hiyo. I see this is pandas. But now I will use pip to be able to install pandas because pandas is an external package. It's not an internal package. So pip helps me to be able to install or to be able to download Python so that I can use it in my Python projects. So UV does the same thing as pip, but now UV is faster in downloading because if you have been using pip, sometimes pip takes longer time. So what you're doing is we are using another Python package that really is a bit faster, since something that is really can be making you bored is ni sile unajaribu kutumia something kuinstall ama kudownload external libraries zenye unatumia tuseme pandas, but it takes kitu kama 20 or 30 minutes. You see that unaona this one is really like taking a lot of my time. But now when you're using UV comes faster. Alafu nowadays there is some issues whereby if you have not been used to knowing how to create virtual environments, it becomes difficult for you to really adjust that whenever I create a project, I have to create a virtual environment. So you go to the manual way of first creating a virtual environment, and then you have to remember the name of your virtual environment. But having UV, you don't create. UV is the one that creates for you. That's the difference. So, which I think, I think for me, I will use a package that really does everything for me than having the one that I have to remember each and every time, and which is a bit faster, especially for packages kama kina Sklearn and PyTorch. You see those packages are too big, like 900 MB. So that will really take time. But when you're using UV with the same internet that you're using with pip, kama ilikuwa the same stable one, it will be faster. It will be fast. So that's the difference. And uzuri yake ni but to download them you must have an internet. But when you're running running files already having the packages, you don't really need internet. So you can already in your machine. So have I answered you? Yeah, so we can continue. So you see, for this now, I wanted now to let's write your file. So we're going up, yeah. So let me go back so that I can be able to write it and a bit better. So cd tests dot up, and then I say here cut app.py so that I can be able to copy the code, the same code that we used, and then so cd slash test okay, cd cd test, yeah, nano app.py, the same file. So paste it there. Okay. I think I just have to do it. Let me see if I can be able to see that file. Let me look it for it. Yeah, that nieke to the same file that we had. Yeah, so be able to find it. I think here. Yeah, so I can be able to find it in the test. Yeah, test app. So this is it. So tests. Yeah, so I place it there. So this is our file where it is. So yeah, so if I come here, do ls, I can be able to see our app here. So here, if I come and say running, okay, run here app, you don't run as Python Evo app.py. No, don't run it that way. So how you run it is you start by saying uv run app.py. Okay, so it tells, you see, what does it done? It runs and then tells you that using C Python 3, so the interpreter, and then tells you that creating virtual environment at, it creates a virtual environment for you. If you do this, you'll be able to see that virtual environment. Yeah, you see, we didn't create, it's the one that created, and then tells us there's no module named pandas. So if you find that there's no module pandas, what you do now, you add the package. So you say uv add pandas. So what happens is adding the package. So you can see so how it's really doing it. Yeah. Yeah. So with a good stable internet, yeah, you'll be able to see it really working. Yeah, really much faster. Yeah. So waiting to finish, but you can see the way in it works is a bit different with how pip works. Yeah, it's a bit different with that. So and then it tells you the packages installed and yeah. So if we go again and say uv run app.py, so you're supposed to see our file doing what? Our file running. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, so that's how you find it. UV really works much like better, and also it's good to really know how you can be able to use UV. Actually, also UV, you can be able to use it with like pip the same way. Let's say we want to install something like, let's say request. So you can say something like UV pip install let's say something like request that way. So you can see it still works with pip, but now it's UV that installs, but installs using the pip command. Yeah. So I think now we can see the differences that you don't have. If you want to run a new package, yeah, you don't really have to create the virtual environment again, run the file and then you have to create a virtual environment again. Yeah, things like those. So that's something, and it's a bit faster. Yeah. So yeah, with that, I hope everybody has seen how UV works. Does anyone have a question? Yeah. So the reason why there's this part here once we finish. Unless there's this part called uv.log. Yeah, so what's that? So it shows you uv.log. If we decide to check on it, say, let me use, yeah, this one, because I can be able to see much, well, less. So can be able to see, yeah, here it is. So that uv.log. So you can be able to see this file. So what does this file do or installs? So it shows you exactly which packages you installed. Yeah, like you see here, it shows you NumPy, and then it shows you, if you go up, yeah, it shows you exactly what you're using, like which packages you installed. Yeah, it shows you pandas, so you can see. And then it shows you the exact version numbers, like you can see version 2.90. Yeah, and then all sub packages they need. Like when I installed pandas, I did not, it also installed with NumPy and some sub packages. So why does this really and why do we need it? Is because you see, when you install pandas today and I install pandas tomorrow, we might get different versions. So that uv .log, so the log file ensures that we both get the exact same versions. Yeah. So that's why you see we usually use virtual, because of that, the dependency issues. Unapata ulikuwa unatumia a certain version, and then again when you install tomorrow you find the version changed. So that's why you're having issues. But with the log, it keeps the version the way your version that you're supposed to use, that's the one that you're gonna use. Yeah. So with that, yeah, I think I'll be able to finish it until there. Maybe is there anyone with a question about that? Anyone with a question? Yeah. Have you understood something? Yeah, so I hope the session was helpful to you. You've learned how interviews, you can be able to go through your interviews and how you can be able to also prepare for the interviews. Yeah. So I think Doreen shared her number there, and also she's also in LuxDev WhatsApp group. So if we go to there, you're gonna find her there. Yeah. And then also my number, if you don't have my number is 0793046776. Yeah, but I'm also in the WhatsApp groups. You can also add Click. If you're also at Click, you can find me there for the students. Yeah, for the others, that's my number. Yeah, so since you guys don't have questions, and I'm talking to yeah, if you don't have, please you can keep post us the questions there, and I think we'll be able to respond as quick as possible. Yes, Aime.
Kama tukishamaliza kutumika na youth tunamaliza kazi yote kwa mfano kesho yake tukitaka kutumika some Python project. Je, hizo manipulation zenye tulifanya na youth as installation za some packages zita work or recall tena?
What happens ni unaona tukiwork na Python projects we work them in a different directorate. In different directories. So different directories will have their different dependencies. So sasa nikiwork na moja, tuseme leo nimework na request, nilikuwa natumia API, nilikuwa na take some data somewhere, nikizistore maybe in a CSV file, kuna dependencies nili download, ama kuna libraries nilitumia nikatumia UV kuzi add. So kesho yake nikikuja kwa hiyo folder sitaenda kuzi add, actually nita run to the UV run the Python file. So hata sitashinda nikikuja kuactivate virtual environment, UV ndio ita activate. So with that, I think we're supposed to finish the session at 9:30. So sorry for the 5 minutes. But Kama, you okay? Thank you so much for coming out for the session. And personally, I've really learned a lot, and I hope you too you have. So I think with that, you can have a nice evening, and wish to see you next week when you're having this session. Goodbye.